I just started a Twitter space. It's making a noise. Hold on. Uh, this isn't working? Well, all right. No, don't fall. All right, this is a weird start to Houston Rockets Daily. Let's Talk Rockets, episode number 89. I may or may not be live here I think I am live technically on Twitter. It is, our ad is Let's Talk Rockets if you guys want to check that out ever. Oh my God, hey, don't make those noises. I think it's all right. Oh, and you can see who's listening. That's crazy. All right, maybe this isn't a good idea. We got Christopher in here in our Twitter space. Go follow the Twitter, links in the description. The Houston Rockets, who cares? The Houston Rockets just lost 100. Actually, the game's technically still going on, but they're down 13 with 40 seconds left. There was a clear skill gap here in the second half. It really was a weird first quarter. First off, Houston was up 20-18 after the first quarter, and then it was, 42 to 41, something like that at halftime. I think Houston had like a 1-point lead. It was a really weird offensive first half, but the main reason comes in defensively. The defense for both of these teams is insane. OKC had nothing easy the entire game. It really was truly beautiful to watch, especially if you're an old head or you just appreciate good, solid defensive basketball. But there were obviously a couple of things. If you watch this game, there were multiple different things that were apparent. First off, the core, or I shouldn't call them the core three. The big three for the Houston Rockets this evening were absolutely horrible. Alperen Sengun was terrible. Jalen Green was terrible. Freddie Double V was terrible. And just to illustrate the point, especially if you didn't watch this game, Fred had 8 points. He had 9 rebounds, 7 assists, but he shot 3 of 15 from the field. He was 1 of 1 from downtown. Jalen Green had 10 points, 4 of 12 from the field, 1 of 7 from downtown. We got a chat here on YouTube. Sengun has no help. Sengun, 13 points, 11 rebounds. On paper, doesn't even seem terrible. That's a really good stat line for a lot of other centers in the NBA. Let me throw this in. 6 of 16 from the field. He had 5 personal fouls. He had 4 total turnovers. There's no way if you watch this basketball game that you could think, oh, Sengun just had a good game. And it's fine. Our TV just turned off. Throwing this in here. We're going to get to the chats here in a second, but I just got to illustrate these points while the game's still or just finished or still on or whatever. I really actually like Kuru here on YouTube. It's okay. The lights were too bright and the offense is not there yet. And I do think that's fair. And I think Sengun just got absolutely cooked by Isaiah Hartenstein tonight. And that could pose you problems saying, why is our supposed to be franchise guy? Why is our number one, the guy we're supposed to build this franchise around or want to build this franchise around, why did he just get absolutely cooked by Isaiah Hartenstein? And this is a game where I don't even think stats truly tell the tale, but they kind of do. Sengun was 6 of 16. Hartenstein had 21 points, 8 rebounds. He was 9 of 12 from the field. He had a block. It just wasn't even close. Hartenstein was just working the dude. And it was kind of weird because it wasn't like Sengun almost felt rushed. It wasn't even like he was taking, these crazy bad shots or Hartenstein was playing A+ defense. He's about to make an all NBA defensive team. It wasn't even really like that. It felt a little bit rushed. It just didn't feel like Sengun's night. And the point I was trying to illustrate here at the beginning of this rant is, and this is something I noticed like 2 years ago before the Denver Nuggets won their first championship. One thing I noticed whenever I would watch these dudes play, and it still does, if Joel Embiid's ever healthy, you watch Joel Embiid versus Nikola Jokic, and it's not even close who the better basketball player is in the specific game. Like Joel Embiid cooks Nikola Jokic every time they play basketball. Maybe the stats don't illustrate it. I'm sure Jokic is still dropping 26 points and 12 rebounds, 8 assists. But if you're watching these games, I just swear Joel Embiid cooks Nikola Jokic. But I guarantee if they met in an NBA Finals, I don't think he would be cooking. I don't think he'd be cooking Nikola Jokic every single basketball game. So that's just kind of my point here. The big three can't play like that. You just can't play like that. And I've been tweeting a lot. We got 4 people here in the Twitter space. Appreciate you guys here. Real quick, let me just intro this. We're here on Houston Rockets Daily on YouTube doing Let's Talk Rockets 89. I had initially planned on doing only a Twitter space because I've never done a Twitter space, but we don't really have any Twitter followers. So check out the link, or actually the link's not there. Type in Let's Talk Rockets if you ever want to listen to a space, because I'm going to do them. But this is available on Spotify. This is available on Apple. Click the link down below. But we're obviously trying to make way more consistent Rockets content here. I don't think my tweets in the last week or two have been, I just don't watch Fred and Jalen Green, and I just don't really see the mesh. But I don't think it's the end of the world, but I don't think Fred was ever, and even Dylan Brooks, but now it's kind of looking more so like Fred. I don't think Fred was really brought in. I don't think these guys were brought in where it's like, all right, guys, the year before we just won 21, 22 basketball games. Get us to the championship right now. Get us there. And what they did is they ended up leading this team to 41 basketball wins, which is a huge step in the right direction in the last 3 years, i.e. the Steven Silas era. So a loss like this really sucks because you could say, like what Kuru is saying here on YouTube, it's okay, the lights were too bright, the offense isn't there yet. But I do think it's obvious the Houston Rockets could really use a score, like just a pure score. I tweeted an example of Malik Monk. A lot of you guys have brought up Malik Monk on this show, and I think that's a really good illustration of what you're looking for. Even like a Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder used to be on the Houston Rockets a couple of seasons ago. I'm not saying that's the best fit, and that should have been the guy they got. But the point is, a dude like Dennis Schroeder, a dude like Malik Monk, a secondary guy coming off of the bench who can give you 15 points. He can give you 10 points in 3 minutes. He can drill 3 threes in the span of 3 minutes and just get the momentum back. Because we're in a basketball era where you're down 20. 20 years ago, you're down 20, you lost. 20 years ago, you're down 20 points in a basketball game. You're probably very most likely losing that basketball game. Now, you hit a couple of threes, it's a one-possession game, or it's a close game. So let's check the chats here. But I don't like that Hardenstein outplayed Şengün. My issue wasn't even really Jalen Green in tonight's game. It was just a collaborative team effort. And like Dylan Brooks technically went 5 of 17, 4 of 8 from down, or 4 of 13 from downtown. But there was a point in that third period where he was like 4 of 8, and he was like kind of single-handedly offensively keeping these guys in the game. So I wouldn't even view like Dylan Brooks as having a bad basketball game, especially defensively. And it does need to be stated, first off, OKC's defense is insane. It's just an insane group. They're probably making the NBA Finals here. It's really an insane team. They're missing Chet. Shea should be the MVP right now as it stands. However, 25 games into the season, Shea should just be the MVP, in my opinion, because what they're doing, it's just kind of crazy. But their defense is insane. And you watch a Houston Rockets basketball game and you think the defense is also insane. And the defense in the first half, both teams were playing like A-plus phenomenal defense. But the difference was when that third quarter began, OKC starts hitting threes, and Houston hit a couple of threes. But it just, they don't have the scoring for it. They just don't. Like OKC shot 11 of 30 from downtown tonight. That's not good. That's not great. It's not horrible. 36.7%. You'll live with that for sure. Houston, 11 of 46, 24%. They went 15 of 25 on free throws. Like, there's just levels to this shit. They shot 36.5% from the field. OKC shot 45% from the field. So it's just in the sense of they're just on that next level, and that was always the MO. OKC is what we want to be. All right, OKC is a year ahead of us. OKC made the playoffs last year. They won a playoff series. Blah, blah, blah. That's Houston this season. So I'm not tweaking. I'm not stressing. But I don't think Freddie Double V and Jalen Green's games fit each other. And this isn't a knock on Fred at all. I feel like Fred plays fast, slow, or slow, fast. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody here. We'll get to the chats in a second. Keep throwing it. Hit that like button on YouTube. But like, for example, Fred will get a rebound. Or Fred will get an outlet pass. And he'll push the pace. No one's there next to him. No one's there behind him. Fred will get a rebound by the free throw line and just dart. Dart downfield. Down the court. There's no one there. There's just nobody there. So it's like, okay, play fast, but You got 2 or 3 defenders there. You got even 1 or 2, maybe one's different. You got 2 defenders there providing help, and Fred's just gonna, go to a corner. He's just gonna dribble, let his offense come up. So I'm not just saying like this is purely a Fred issue. I'm not saying this is an energy or an effort issue, because I don't think that has anything to do with the Houston Rockets as far as effort or energy goes. But I am just saying I don't think Fred and Jalen mesh at all. I think Fred plays a slower, systematical game. I'm not comparing him to Luka Doncic in any way, shape, or form, but that kind of slowness, let the game come to you. I don't know if anyone gets the Le'Veon Bell NFL reference. Le'Veon's fast, but he lets the game come to him. Jalen Green and Fred, I think, just play 2 different non-complementary brands of basketball. So I don't think the answer immediately is trade Jalen Green for Devin Booker, trade Jalen Green for Jimmy Butler, trade Jalen Green for De'Aaron Fox in the farm. I'd be more down for that. But I don't think the immediate answer is, all right, let's start calling Phoenix, see what we can get for Devin Booker or what we got to give up for Devin Booker. I just don't think the backcourt really fits well. I don't think the combination of Jalen Green, Freddie, and Şengün fit. I think Jalen Green and Şengün can fit. I think Fred and Şengün are probably a better fit, but I don't think all 3 of those can fit. And I also don't want Fred and Şengün. I've always said on this recent shows, like, Fred's a championship point guard, but Toronto brought in Kawhi. So it'd be like Houston bringing in a Booker, be like Houston bringing in a Jimmy Butler or somebody like that. Not the same calibers, or maybe the same calibers, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I've always kind of held the opinion as far as the starting lineup goes, I wouldn't really mess with it this season. But I would make a move for Dennis Schroeder type of player that Houston's looking for at the deadline if it comes up. All right, let's hit the YouTube chat. Jay's saying, I'm ready to move on from Jalen Green. I think he's just what he is. At his peak, he's just another Zach LaVine, but we can't continue to wait for him to potentially develop into that. Jalen's got Zach LaVine misses a lot of basketball games every season, so I think Jalen's better in that category. I think Jalen is probably what Zach is in a couple of years, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think Zach LaVine should ever or have been, coming from Chicagoland guy, a Bulls guy. I don't think LaVine should have ever been like the number 1. I don't really think shooting guards are built to be like the number 1, like offensively and defensively. But, don't take that out of context saying like Ant can't win anything without, somebody better than him. But almost like in a Devin Booker type of thing where they just need, he needs like a Chris Paul. Phoenix just kind of got shafted by Giannis in the NBA Finals. But I don't know. I don't think there's a quick fix, a quick remedy. I don't have the same issues people have with Jalen Green. When Jalen gets the ball, he wants to shoot it. And I think Jalen Green plays fast. And I don't really think Fred and Şengün, watching it on paper, I don't think they all really complement each other. And I think, even like last year's Boston Celtics, I think you kind of got to have a team that complements each other. I had this tweet here a couple of minutes ago before this stream saying, because Thompson was by far the Houston Rockets' best player, 19.7 rebounds, 9 of 15 from the field, 29 minutes. He had 3 steals. He also had 4 turnovers, just like Alperen Şengün. Jabari had 6 turnovers. 3 turnovers. Şengün had 4. Jalen Green had 3. And Amin made a couple of mistakes, but like you're not viewing Amin Thompson's turnovers as the reason for this loss. As maybe if it was Jalen Green making the mistakes Amin did, but Jalen just got outplayed from Amin. My point just kind of was like Amin Thompson at this point in his career, we know he's good, we know he's really talented, and we know his future is as bright as a star. But at this point in his NBA career and at this point in the Houston Rockets franchise, I do not think he should be the best player in a $500,000 game with huge, respect, money. There's a lot on the line here. These 14th, 13th, 12th, 15th guys on the roster, they could really use $500,000. Even Şengün and Jalen Green will take $500,000. So there's a big cash prize here. There's a lot of pride on the line here. And I don't think Thompson should be by far my best player on a team like that. I just don't think. And like I said, I think Amon's really good, and his future is even better than what he is right now, obviously. But a year and a half into his NBA career, he missed the first 20, 30 games of last season. This is a game where Jalen Green steps up. This is a game where Alperen Şengün steps up. This is where Dylan Brooks and Freddie Double V do their thing. So even here, I like what I'm seeing here. Reggie Bullock, even Reggie Bullock on the Rockets last season, they didn't even play the dude. They didn't even play Reggie Bullock. All right. Şengün's not efficient as he was over the season. Also, the rest of the team is worse offensively. I think it might be because of the coaching. They just had a game where they're not a good 3-point shooting team. I can pull up the thing right here. Not a good 3-point shooting team. They take a lot of threes. They're not good at converting them. All right. 3-point percentage, 27th. This is not a good statistic. It's just not ideal. Someone said, should have brought in Luke Kennard, somebody like that, Reed Shepherd. Probably a little too early. LP's efficiency means nothing when you can't make wide open shots. Jalen's weird choices, Fred's 3-point misses. Everyone's garbage except Amon. On paper, Fred and Jalen fit, but neither hit shots. Jalen to a bigger extent. I wonder what their let me just Google it. I wonder what these guys' 3-point. I wonder what their difference is. Let's take a look here. Heading into this basketball game, Jalen Green shooting at a better rate than Fred. Jalen Green heading into this basketball game shot 39.7 from the field. Fred was shooting 38.5. Jalen Green, a better 3-point shooter, but barely 32.1%, and Freddie's 31.6. So I think Fred's been very bad. I mean, I'm sure he would agree with that too. 38.5. I mean, we know Jalen's not playing good. I think Fred's playing really bad basketball right now. Houston needs at least 2 reliable shooters. Hey, we got Chris in the chat on Twitter. What's good? Houston needs at least 2 reliable shooters. If that means setting Fred away, Fred and Jalen away, so be it. And I think I was kind of getting on this ramble here, and I don't think I finished the thought. I think Fred was just brought in for a year or two. Just that kind of move. Get this team back on track, leadership, mentality, talent, all that good stuff. The KPJ experiment was over, and got them to 41 wins. They're still 17-9, still a really good basketball team. But when lose a game like that to OKC, it's just clear there's a level. There's levels to this. At a short term, Cam Johnson would be amazing. That'd be cool in theory. I don't know where he would fit in this current landscape of the roster, but I'm sure a trade would change that. I'm not too big on Cam Johnson like a lot of dudes are. He's a bucket. He needs a bucket. That mean you're done? Would that mean if you trade for Cam Johnson right now, are you done with Jabari? Are you done with Dylan? Probably Jabari. Someone's hitting the bench. Trade for Cam Johnson right now, someone's hitting the bench. So I'm going to end this Rockets Twitter space. Thank you, Chris, for listening. Check out the Let's Talk Rockets Twitter if you want to. I'm never going to do that again because that was it was just way too much. Way too much. Jalen Green's inconsistency is normal at this point. Yeah, this fucking setup's not good. So the question is, are we willing to continue the Jalen experience after this season? I would say if the Houston Rockets do not win a playoff series, I mean, I guess we could get to the specifics of it. If Houston's the 7th seed or the 8th seed and they claw themselves into the play-in, or they're the 6th seed and they got to take on Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, that's a little bit different. But I would say if Houston acquires the top 4 seed in the NBA playoffs, where you have home field advantage, home court advantage, and you don't come out of that series at the top no matter who you're playing, then I do think the Jalen Green experience is over. I probably would assume the Fred experience is over as well. I'm a Jalen Green stan, apparently, and I'm giving him for the rest of the season for sure, 100%. And same thing, applies to Fred. Same thing applies to Jabari. Raphael Stone said the same thing a couple of days ago. I don't really want him to make a regular season big time move. If you did, I liked the idea, the philosophy of Malik Monk. Obviously, Reggie Bullock didn't work out. Luke Kennard, something along that philosophy where these guys are actually going to play. Don't bring Reggie Bullock in to play 8 minutes a night every 3 games. And he's still the best 3-point shooter on the team. Reggie, 2 years ago, started 50 games. Dallas, too. That was always kind of perplexing, but I'm not Ime. I have been seeing some rumblings here. I don't know what Zach LaVine's asking price is, but I could see a world where it could happen. I don't see a lot of PGs available to replace Fred. I've seen this a little bit. I do think Zach LaVine could be solid. My big thing with Zach LaVine in the most recent years, and honestly, it's just health. It's just availability. I've always kind of harped the idea that Jalen Green, his availability is insane. You don't see that availability, really. I mean, I guess you do with young shooting guards, but that's something that gets overlooked. Is Jalen Green hasn't missed a basketball game in 2 years, over 2 calendar years. Zach LaVine's last main injured season was last year. The year before it, he played 77, 67, 58, 60, 63, 24, 47, 82, 8, 77. One big thing I always keep in mind is just health. Colin Sexton would be cool. I think Colin Sexton could be cool for sure. I'm not a GM, so I don't know the mesh and the fit of these guys specifically. I think, especially with trades, I think what you're giving up definitely needs to be factored in here. But if Houston makes a move, it's definitely going to be for at least some type of three-point shooter. I don't even think it'll be a solidified secondary option off the bench like Colin Sexton, just pure bucket. Obviously can shoot threes, but just a pure bucket. Drop 20 any night. I think they'd go a little bit more systematic, which you could agree or disagree with, like we saw with Reggie Bullock. Reggie Bullock's a great 3-point shooter, didn't play last season. So the point is, we'll end it here. I gotta watch Charlie Brown. Houston's 17-9. I'm not upset. The first half, I'm pretty sure the Houston Rockets were winning by I know it was 1 point or whatever, but Houston was winning. They were winning. Shots just stopped going in. OKC's defense was insane. I don't think the Rockets really had the legs as far as depth goes. Obviously, when you're starting point guards 3 of 15, you're starting shooting guards 5 of 14, you're starting centers 6 of 16, you're starting small forwards 5 of 17. It's probably not going to go great. We saw 6 minutes of Steven Adams before he had to depart with a potential injury. Aaron Holiday played 5 minutes, but other than that, this is a 7-man rotation. And it's not the playoffs, so I don't think that's a good idea, but the hell do I know. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in live and post-live. Hit the like button, hit that sub button for daily Houston Rockets content-ish. And once again, as always, this is available on streaming sites, Apple, Spotify, however you take your podcast. The link's in the description. Or type in Let's Talk Rockets with Jackson Elstro. This is iteration number 89. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in a couple of days. Peace.